Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee. To begin, we have all members are present. Declarations of interest. Seeing none. Confirmation of minutes from the meeting of April 5th, 2018. Is that carried? Carried. Thank you. So this is a public meeting to consider the proposed comprehensive official plan and zoning bylaw amendments listed as items 2 to 6 on today's agenda. For those items just mentioned, only those who make oral submissions today or written submissions before the amendments are adopted may appeal the matter to the local planning appeal tribunal. In addition, the applicant may appeal the matter to the local planning appeal tribunal if council does not adopt an amendment within 150 days of receipt of the application for zoning and 210 days for an official plan amendment. A comment sheet is available at the door for those wishing to make those submissions. So we'll go through. We have a couple items that we're going to have speakers on. Just want to run through the agenda first. So item number 1, appointment to South Nation Conservation Authority, that the Agricultural Rural Affairs Committee recommend council approve the appointment of Michael Brown to the South Nation Conservation Authority, term to be effective upon approval and to expire on November 30th, 2018. Is that item carried? Carried. Thank you. Item number 2 is a zoning bylaw amendment for 4837 Albion Road and 4910 Bank Street. We are going to hold that item. Item number 3, a zoning amendment for small-scale industrial uses in commercial zones. Item number 4 is a zoning amendment for live music and performance venues. I'm just going to hold. So just we have a motion, just a technical amendment on both of those items. There was just something that was missed. I'm just going to ask Councillor DeRoos to move that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And motion, whereas the province of Ontario passed Bill 73, Smart Growth of Our Communities Act 2015, which amended the Planning Act, and whereas zoning bylaw amendment and official plan amendment reports are subject to the regulation of Bill 73, and whereas the City of Ottawa has been preparing a summary of written and oral public submissions for these types of items for council approval to meet the explanation requirement of Bill 73, and whereas the standard recommendation relating to the preparation of this summary should be included in all zoning bylaw amendment and official plan amendment reports, and whereas such a recommendation was anonymously omitted from reports ACS 2018-PIE-EDP-0007 and ACS 2018 PIE EDP 0015 and was only discovered after a publication of the agenda for this meeting. Therefore, be it resolved that the staff report for zoning amendment, small scales industrial use in commercial zones, storefront industry, and zoning amendment, live music and performance venues be amended to add the following recommendation. The Planning Committee and Agricultural Rural Affairs Committee approved the consultation details section of the report be included as part of the brief explanation and a summary of written oral public submission to be prepared by the City Clerk and Solicitor's Office and submitted to Council in a report titled Summary of Oral and Written Public Submissions for Items Subject to Bill 73, Explanation Requirements at the City Council meeting of 23rd of May 2018, subject to submissions received between the publication of the report and the time of Councilor's decision. Be it further resolved that no further notice be provided pursuant to Section 3417 of the Planning Act.
Thank you. So long story short, we screwed something up. We got to fix it. That's pretty much what he just said. No, every time that we have one of these zoning files, we always have that Section 2, which is the consultation details section of the report. We just omitted that from the 3rd and 4th item on the agenda. I know Councillor Hubley just has a quick question on the small-scale industrial uses in commercial zones report. Councillor Hubley?
Thank you. Just a quick question for staff on, I didn't see something there about how we're going to apply this. Is this something that people will have to apply, come in with an application to have that zoning applied to their property, or is it something that we can just automatically, retroactively apply to properties?
think the idea was it'd be an as-of-right zoning permission.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
It was on.
Oh, it was.
There you go.
There we go. That is correct, Mr. Chair. It's simply defining a new land use that covers something that previously isn't defined in the zoning bylaw, so it would simply be among the permitted uses in the applicable zones.
So if you currently operate within that zone today, all of a sudden after this is approved at council, assuming it's approved at council, then all of a sudden that would be a permitted use in that zone as well.
That is correct.
So nobody has to do an application or pay any money, it'll just automatically be done for them?
They wouldn't have to go through a rezoning, that's correct.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
So on item number 3, as amended. Carried. And item number 4, the live music and performance venues, as amended. Carried. Thank you. Item number 5 is the City of Ottawa zoning bylaw omnibus amendments. I was going to do a presentation, but there's only a couple things on it. But there is just one motion. I'm going to, just on one of the items relating to 5970 Dwyer Hill Road, there's a recommendation in the report to change the EP3 zone to an EP2 zone to recognize some of the previous use of the property. The property owners come forward and shown evidence that the site could be expanded further in terms of what we're looking at when it comes to the EP2 zone, which then permits agricultural uses on that property. So I just have a motion here from, and I'll just introduce myself, but it's from Councillor DeRuse. There's a map attached to it as well, which will amend the omnibus report. Therefore, be it resolved that the staff report be amended to replace map 1F of document 1 location maps with the attached map 1F, and be it resolved that no further notice be provided pursuant to section 3417 of the Planning Act. So all it does is just change the map attached. It expands, it enlarges that EP2 zone instead of the EP3 zone that exists currently. Aside from that, the report itself just has a couple small minor changes for the rural area. One specifically is a change to the VM2 zone in Manotick, adding medical facility as a use, which should have been there, but it was omitted in the zoning even though it was in the official plan. So we have a speaker. It's Mr. Chris Potts, who is the owner of the property in question I was speaking about on Dwyer Hill Road. I assume if we carry this, you're supportive of that?
Yes, I would appreciate it.
Perfect, thank you. So on the motion from Councillor DeRuse, carried, and on the report as amended, carried, thank you. And item number 6 is the site alteration bylaw. We have some motion on that as well as a couple speakers, so we will come back to that as well. So back to item number 2, which is zoning bylaw amendment for 4837 Albion Road and 4910 Bank Streets. This is the Hard Rock Casino application in the south end of Ottawa. So we're going to start with a presentation from staff speaking to the planning application that's before us.
Good morning, Chair Moffat. Good morning, members of Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee. My name is Allison Hamlin, and I'm the file lead planner for the rezoning application submitted by the applicants for the Hard Rock Casino Ottawa at the Rideau Carleton Raceway located at 4837 Albion Road and 4910 Bank Street. So just a bit of history on this site. There has been a racetrack at this site since 1962 and slot machines since 1998. In 2013, the city informed the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation, OLG, that this site was the preferred location for an expanded gaming facility. In 2017, OLG selected Hard Rock as the service provider for the Ottawa area, and City Council approved this in 2017, September 2017, with specific recommendations carried forward from 2013. These recommendations can be found in the report, document 8. What Hard Rock proposes to do at this site is expand the existing casino by adding a 2,500 seat theater, new restaurants, a 200-room hotel, 55 gaming tables, and a parking garage. The racetrack will remain in operation, And to achieve this expansion, the rezoning is required to permit a 9-story hotel, a theater, and to increase the number of gaming tables to 55. So the site is located here at the Rideau Carleton Raceway and Slots, 4837 Albion Road, 4910 Bank Street, and a vacant lot to the south of these numbered properties. In terms of the consultation, public notice was given by mail to landowners within 900 meters of the site. Signs were posted on the site. A dedicated web page was created on ottawa.ca for the application. And community meetings were held on March 7th in Greeley and March 19th at the RA Center. 160 respondents asked to be added to the notification list for this zoning bylaw amendment. Of that number, 2 individuals were opposed, 19 had questions or concerns, and 9 expressed support. The concerns that were raised primarily related to traffic impacts, the scale of the development and the impacts to local residents, and the open house meeting format. Staff responses to the questions and concerns can be found in document 5 of the report. Within the official plan, the site is designated as a major urban facility, and horse racing, gaming, and related uses, as well as the general rural area uses, are permitted here. The proposed 9-story hotel, the theater, and the 55 gaming tables conform to official plan policy. The official plan also directs that when considering expansions to major urban facilities, staff will consider transportation impacts, compatibility and design, and the adequacy of services. Details of this nature will be provided within the application for site plan control. So as a result, staff are recommending in the zoning bylaw amendment holding provisions, which I'll explain later in my presentation. The official plan also permits complementary ancillary uses, such as the hotel. So the details of the zoning bylaw, recommended zoning bylaw amendment, can be found in document 2 of the report. Staff are recommending to introduce a definition for casino, meaning an indoor entertainment facility licensed by OLG, the principal business of which is gambling, and which may also include restaurants, theaters, or places of assembly as ancillary uses, as well as retail, counseling services, financial services, and offices as accessory uses. And within the site-specific exception, casino in this location would be limited to slot machines and 55 gaming tables. The 9-story hotel would be permitted within a defined area, Area A, within a schedule. And the schedule would also set out the areas subject to holding provisions. The areas that are leased by Hard Rock Casino Ottawa, shown here as Area A, B, and D, would be subject to certain holding provisions. Area that has been retained by the Rideau Carleton Raceway Holdings, Area C, would have different holding provisions. This site has also been subject to a severance application, which is conditionally approved, which would divide the lands accordingly. So as I said, Area C would be subject to holding provisions so that development could not occur until sufficient municipal water supply is available. The area leased by Hard Rock would be subject to holding provisions, which would be addressed through the application for site plan control, and which could not be removed until after site plan approval. The first of these holding provision conditions relates to transportation demand management, to encourage other modes of travel and to reduce reliance on private automobiles for accessing the site. The second relates to providing transit or shuttles, and Hard Rock has already committed to continued shuttle service to the site. The third relates to an updated transportation impact assessment, which would examine in greater detail the impacts of the expanded facility on the local road network and review options for Hard Rock to participate in accelerating any transportation master plan projects. Staff see potential for opportunities to improve traffic conditions in the area through the construction of a connection to Bank Street within the future Earl Armstrong Road alignment. This alignment is currently under study. Staff also support accelerating widening Bank Street if Hard Rock were to offer contributions to an accelerated transportation project. The final provision for areas A, B, and D calls for a conceptual master plan which would look at the design of the site. It would lay out blocks for development and for natural features, and it would confirm the circulation routes for pedestrians, cyclists, transit, and vehicles, deprioritizing the Albion Road accesses, and locating a Bank Street connection. So in conclusion, what's before committee today is a decision related to a 9-story hotel, a new definition for casino, including theater and 55 gaming tables. Staff find that this is appropriate for a major urban facility and fits with provincial regulations, including the regulation of gaming by OLG. And holding provisions are recommended to address details related to transportation and site design for the overall expansion. And there are also separate holding provisions related to servicing for the retained lands. So in conclusion, planning staff are recommending approval of this zoning bylaw amendment. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We have a number of speakers on the item. We have a few motions as well. I'd like to introduce the motions first, and then we'll go to speakers. So I'll ask Councillor DeRuse, the three motions we have before us. I know he's worked with some of his colleagues on these, so I'll allow him to introduce the three motions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be introducing three motions, one from myself, one from Councillor Kakish and me, and one from Councillor Deans. I'll start first with the one that I'm putting, and that's this whole motion is to speak. So when site plan approval come, and then there is a holding provision, it will be the concurrence of the ward councillor to lift them. So I will. Where is the report? EDP 0021 recommends zoning changes to the lands known municipally as 4837 Albion Road and 4910 Bank Street, and whereas the proposal will be a citywide facility but will also affect the local community, and whereas document 2 contains holding provisions that merit community consultation prior to lifting the holding symbol or approval of a site plan control application, and whereas community consultation beyond the requirements set out in the public notification and consultation policy will be important for the local communities most affected by the development. There is be resolved that the Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee recommended that Council direct staff to undertake community consultations for any future site plan control applications, and that these consultations include public meetings organized by the applicant in collaboration with staff and a ward councillor, and which be request another ward councillor, and by mutual agreement may occur outside of the local ward. And be it resolved that there be no further notice pursuant to subsection 3417 of the Planning Act. Next motion is from Councillor Kakish and myself, and whereas the proposed expansion at the Hard Rock Casino site will result in additional demands upon the transportation network, and whereas Hard Rock Casino Ottawa is prepared to commit to assist the City of Ottawa in addressing these additional transportation demands, be it resolved that prior to the submission of the zoning bylaw to Council, the General Manager Planning, Infrastructure and Economy Development confirmed to the Mayor and members of Council that a letter from Hard Rock Casino Ottawa has been received that provides a commitment from Hard Rock Casino Ottawa to work with staff, area councillors and other landowners on improvements and infrastructure that assist in improving the local traffic area conditions. This commitment shall include continued discussions as the following items: a private driveway on Hard Rock Casino Ottawa lands to Bank Street, a front ending of portion of Earl Armstrong to Bank Street, and or constructing a driveway through the Earl Armstrong alignment in lieu of private driveway connection. Working with the developers in Leitrim of front-ending improvements of Bank Street. Working with the city on front-ending intersection improvement at Albion and Leicester. And last motion on behalf of Councillor Deans, she's here with us today. Thank you for coming. Report EDP 0021 recommends zoning changes to the lands known municipally as 4837 Road and 4910 Bank Street, and whereas in 2011, Council approved the funding of an area traffic management study, and whereas the province did not issue the approval requirement to implement the gaming tables until the requirements of Regulation 8112 were met in the fall of 2017, and whereas also funds were set aside in 2011, the account was closed in 2015 because of inactivity, and whereas the study may now occur, and whereas the study of this scope with associated public consultation requires additional funds, be it resolved that the following recommendation be added to the staff report: that transportation services be directed to undertake an area traffic management study for Albion Road between Bank Street and Leicester Road in 2019, notwithstanding the council approved screening and prioritization process for ATM studies. 2, that the $75,000 in funding for the area traffic management study set aside in 2011 be reinstated. 3, that an additional $75,000 provided to complete the study, that the associated cost for this study be derived from the City of Ottawa one-time unforeseen account, and be it further resolved that there be no further notice pursuant to subsection 3417 of the Planning Act. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you very much. So we will deal with those at the end. I just thought it was important to get those in front of members of the committee. Councillor Deans is with us here today, and members of the public. So we'll go on to our list of speakers. We start with Mr. John McMillan of the National Capital Region Harness Horse Racing Association, or Horse Association. Good morning, Mr. Miller. So you have 5 minutes to address the committee.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, Councillor Moffat and members of the Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee. As it stated, my name is John McMillan, and I represent the National Capital Region Harness Horse Association, and I wish to speak in support of the initiative this morning. First off, I'd like to thank the Mayor and Council for selecting Rideau Carleton as the permanent site for casino gaming in Ottawa. This decision has secured the venue for horse racing for many years to come, and it has provided much needed stability for industry participants. Owning, training, and breeding horses requires a great deal of investment and a long-term financial commitment. The only way stakeholders can invest in barns, training facilities, trucks, tractors, equipment, and so on is if there is confidence that Rideau Carleton will be hosting races for many years to come. In stabilizing the venue, you as a mayor and council have allowed the Armstrong and Wright families to continue what they started back in 1962. Many racing families were around back then when the track opened and are still heavily involved today. Now some second and third generations of horse people we're seeing that started back in '62. And the news gets even better. The provincial government has also recognized Rideau Carleton as vital to their long-term commitment to horse racing. They have formulated a business model and a strategy that will ensure horse racing continues in the region for decades to come. So now we have a winning combination. The hardworking men and women who invest and work in and around horse racing have a supportive and attentive municipal and provincial government in their corner. We have the staunch support and commitment of the Armstrong and Wright families, and now a new partner in Hard Rock who has a proven successful track record in entertainment and gaming. The impact of this newly structured organization has already proven successful, and momentum is continuing to build. Rideau Carleton has experienced increased investment and participation from horse people, creating large and competitive fields in our races. This high-caliber racing product is now being broadcast around the world for people to watch and wager on. Parimutuel wagering handles are now reaching record levels. In fact, one Sunday night in April, the total Carleton's races dollars. Does this mean this is very well? Thousands of horse providing services to those racing here. No problem. It gives us hope for an even brighter future. The horse people who I represent wholeheartedly support this initiative. As Hard Rock and Rideau Carleton continue to expand, it will ultimately provide more dollars for our purses and potential for a longer racing season, giving us more racing opportunity. As a horse people's group, we also feel it's important to give back to the community. We partner up with many local charities, as many as we can throughout the year. In fact, later this month, we are co-hosting, along with Rideau Carleton and Hard Rock, a big fundraiser for one of our favorite local charities, the Shepherds of Good Hope. There are other jurisdictions, even in Ontario, where horse people find themselves in a very precarious situation. A perfect example currently is Kawartha Downs in the Peterborough area. The slots are leaving Kawartha Downs and heading to a new location. The track operator is in financial distress, and horse racing revenue is not enough to keep the facility open, so it is highly likely Kawartha Downs will never open for live racing again. Fortunately, that is not the situation that horse people here in Ottawa face. The stability that we have with this new arrangement is very fortunate. In summary, we horse people rely on Rideau Carleton to earn our livings. We feel very fortunate that we have the stability and a bright future thanks to the commitment of Rideau Carleton ownership and the foresight of this mayor and council along with the provincial government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for just a second, because I know there's a question for you. But thank you. I know we've come a long way since 2012. And yeah, it's a positive step. I know in working with the OLG in the past several years as a representative on the host mayor's municipality meetings that we do, I know that they've made a renewed commitment to hiring Cal Bricker as their senior vice president of specifically for horse racing. I think that's a far cry from what they were looking at back in 2012. So thank you for your commitment and dedication over the past few years. I know that Councillor Deans has a question for you. Just press the button there.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation this morning. And, you are right that I think the reason that ultimately Rideau Carleton was chosen was because of harness racing and the desire by many people in the community to maintain harness racing and support that industry. But I was kind of surprised when I read the Parsons traffic impact analysis where it says that harness racing is being reduced from 90 days per year to 70 days per year. And you seem to suggest that there's an expansion of harness racing, but this report says it's being reduced. Are you aware of that?
I absolutely am, and actually that's a little bit misleading because we as a horse people's group negotiate each and every year to formulate a schedule that we feel is optimal for our horse people. And we actually requested a reduction in some of the winter racing dates because it was difficult for us to get our horses to the racetrack with such a tough climate here in the nation's capital. So what the racetrack has done for us is instead of racing only 10 races per program, they're allowing us up to 15. So it actually turns out to be more racing opportunities for our horse people. So that's why we settled on the optimal number that worked best for the horse people and the racetrack alike.
Okay, can you put that into layperson's language? Because I don't understand what 15 per program means.
Okay. The horse races are called a card of racing or a program of racing. And there's a certain number of races on each program. And there's up to 9 horses in each race. So as a horse person's representative, I want to get as many of my horse people racing as we can on a particular race night. So if there are 15 races versus 10 races, then we have an extra 45 racing opportunities, 9 times 5, or 5 for those 5 extra races. So that's what we're all about, basically, is coming up with a business plan and a strategy that can optimize the financial benefit of us racing our horses at Rideau Carleton and picking the perfect season. And it's all about finding that sweet spot, too, because Rideau Carleton has recently expanded its simulcast into the United States and actually all around the world, like I noted in my speech there, that we bet almost $500,000. We've vaulted up into second place among Ontario tracks because of this cooperation between Rideau Carleton and Hard Rock and the horse people. So these aren't dollars that are wagered by residents of Ottawa largely. The money's coming in from all around the world, and as we continue to grow and develop with Rideau Carleton and Hard Rock, we can put on a better and better product, and this is only going to increase the viability of our simulcast outlets.
What's the current attendance?
It's difficult to say because you've got people coming for the casino and people coming for the horse races, but Rideau Carleton's got a 750-seat dining room, and it's sold out for every race night, and there's also 3 other levels, as you're well aware, on the facility. So obviously it's been a rough winter, so attendance is better when the weather gets good, but we're very pleased with our attendance. I believe we're number 2 in the province of all the tracks that race.
What would an average attendance be?
Once again, difficult for me to say.
You don't record attendance numbers?
No, attendance is very difficult to record because there's traffic coming and going for the slots.
So there's no charge for admission to get in anymore? No?
No, admission is free.
Okay.
That's a business strategy that we came up with about 15 years ago. But if you're looking for a specific number, I would think around 3,000 would be an average attendance at Rideau Carleton.
Okay, and are you running 15 races on an evening or a Sunday now?
We're running we had 14 last Sunday. They draw today for Sunday's program, so we'll have 14 or 15. As the warm weather comes, as the weather gets warmer, there are a lot more horses around. So my horsemen's group is able to provide Rideau Carleton with more horses to race. So last week we were only able to provide 14 races, but with the increased stability that we're seeing with Hard Rock and Rideau Carleton, the Armstrong family and the Wright family's commitment, we feel comfortable in investing in this industry now, whereas we may not have several years ago when there was lots of turmoil in the province.
And will you be like shutting down harness racing in the winter then to get to the 7-day race days as opposed to 90?
That's what we as a horse people's group have proposed. We're actually racing to the end of this calendar year, and we're going to have a meeting. Like I have to meet with my horse people, and they will vote on a number of different proposed schedules. And we always propose a year-round schedule, but as I said before, with the difficulty of racing in the wintertime, a lot of my members are recommending a shorter season.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor El Shantiri, also switch. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. McMillan. Thank you for being here. You mentioned more than once the horse people. I like that term, actually, because that's what we use in West Carleton about the folks who reap the benefit of the horse racing in Carleton. And I'd like you to tell me a little bit more about that overspin economy on a rural area. with the, you know, what you call the horse people. And
Absolutely.
the people who grow the hay and the people who deliver the hay and the people who sell the hay. Because just for the record, I have to declare, I've been at the horse race lately and it's been full house. Unfortunately, you have to have a reservation to have a dinner now because the place is full, which is good on you, which is mean what we fought for a few years ago to maintain that horse racing in Carlton, in the Rideau Carlton Raceway is staying and it's been stabilized. So, but I'd like to know about more on the rural side of the economic spin.
Certainly, thanks for your question. What goes on the racetrack, getting that animal to the races, requires a lot of financial investment and work behind it. Look no further than your truck and trailer that you have to put the horses in to bring them from your farm or your training center to get to the track. Those trucks and trailers have to be filled with fuel, maintained, purchased, and so on. Then when the horse is at home, they have to be housed somewhere. So there's an economic benefit to rural Ontario there. As well, the feed, for instance, I just have a small stable of horses myself. And my hay and grain costs are around $1,500 a week. And there's veterinary costs, there's blacksmiths, there's grooms, assistant trainers, handlers, and all these people derive benefit from horse racing.
Okay, because you don't have a number of the larger spin on it. What I'm interested in, because in the past when the province was thinking about canceling the horse racing, it was a study done how many farmers and how many farming community benefit from this.
Yeah, I've obviously seen a number of studies, as have you, and the number that I heard province-wide was 30,000. Okay. But it's very difficult to quantify that. As you know, there's a tremendous multiplier effect with the impact of 100 horses racing at Rideau Carlton. All the economics behind getting those horses to the races, like I mentioned.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. McMillan.
Thank you, Councillor Shantiri. Councillor DeRoos.
Put the mic on.
We need an upgrade. Good morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thanks, John, for being here. It's really nice to hear some of your stat and some of the explanation for the member of committee here and answering all the questions. I'll be missed, and I just want to thank you for being here today to support this great venue in our community. And I know that I don't want to be missed, and I want to thank you and thank my former councillor, Mr. Doug Thompson. He is here today. That I know in 2011 and 12 how hard you guys worked to keep the horse racing in Eastern Ontario, and I understand. And I'm so happy to see things coming into, finally we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're very happy to see that the horse racing is going to be home in the Rideau Carlton. And I want to thank the chair and our MPP and Councillor Thompson for their hard work with you, and I know it's been long history, so thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you. Thanks. There's a lot of benefits of hosting Agricultural Affairs Committee at Ben Franklin Place. The audio system, not one of them. Our next speaker is Paul Norris.
I'll use a bigger voice. All right. Or I'll mime it, one of the two.
Yeah, so the mic's on, so you're good to go.
Thank you, and I've got my little video thing. We'll play that in a second. So it's Paul Norris from Hunt Club Park Community Association. Yes, we're farther down. I'm here to talk about transportation. But I'd first like to say, I'm looking forward to Hard Rock, the cafe. I've been to the casino in Vegas when I was there at a trade show. I've been to other casinos around the world that I won't admit to readily, but they're great. One of the interesting things is when you go to Hard Rock in Vegas, or you go in Baden-Baden, or pick a casino, the entrance is beautiful. Oh, sure, thank you, yeah. The entrance is beautiful. When you go in, you go across the river to Hull. Beautiful roads, very nice entrance. That's something that we're lacking here with the infrastructure. And what I've done, so really what I'm looking at right now is the infrastructure. I'm looking at Earl Armstrong and the committee, the transportation folks are going to look at it. But what I did a video the other day. If you can hit play on it if you want. And if we can just watch the video, and It's silent. It was shot on my phone. It was fun. I was driving safely. But one of the things is the road, as everybody knows, the road from Vimy Bridge down Earl Armstrong, the 4-lane road is beautiful. But I just look at Manotick. My brother-in-law lives at Manotick, so he comes in. But when we look at it, when we go across Vimy Bridge, beautiful road, Earl Armstrong's beautiful down to Lime Bank. Then we get into this. So what happens, we're going to have people from the south end coming down roads like this. As you can see, I'm not exaggerating the speed. I'm traveling at speed. Road's a mess. The more transportation, the more travel we have on that, the infrastructure will deteriorate quicker. The city doesn't have money to fix transport infrastructure right now, so we're going to have a problem for a beautiful casino that's $350 million of investment. Like right here, we're going to have a rotten entrance. So this has all been going on. And then what I did at rush hour, it was at 4 o'clock yesterday in the rain. So Bank Street from Leitrim south goes to 2 lanes. And as everybody knows, the construction down there, the Finley Creek, it's fabulous construction. The communities are doing really well. It's a 2-lane pothole road that just is a mess. And when we're going to add more travel to that, more population to that, for the, I don't know how many cars are going to expect or how many people are going to expect at the Rio Carlton, at the cafe, or the Hard Rock Casino, but we're going to increase the transportation, so the infrastructure is going to deteriorate so much faster. So as a community member at Hunt Club, and the people, not to speak for Albie and others, but the roads are going to fall apart faster. Yes, we have an infrastructure problem. Out in Orleans, St. Joseph's is a whatever. We need to make sure that whatever happens, that Hard Rock and the city can work out a deal. And I've had an opportunity to talk to Councillor Deans, to people from Hard Rock. There seems to be a desire to make sure that we have a very beautiful showcase facility, which it will be at $350 million worth of investment. But we're going to have crap roads going in there. And yes, they're crap today, are not very nice today. In 5 years from now, the infrastructure will break down further. I mean, take a look at Earl Armstrong. Anybody who travels that road, it gets worse every day. So I'm saying and supporting the whole to figure out what can we do to make sure we get the infrastructure and have a beautiful showcase. How can the city help provide a great showcase for Rio Carlton, for the horse racing, for people going there? Because the amount of travel, I mean, I'm looking forward to the entertainment that's going to be coming there. So I will be a participant and go out there. But I want to make sure the roads work, and that's really what I'm talking about. So that's where I am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I know Councillor Elshanteri has a question. I'm going to ask him, just as Police Services Board Chair, to ignore the fact that your video was clearly shot from the driver's seats.
Oh, yeah, it was done. It was done mounted properly.
I'm just joking.
Okay, yeah, no,
just giving her time.
It wasn't. It was a load of fun.
Go ahead.
The police officer didn't follow me.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. You asked my first question anyway, so and I'm glad you answered properly. My second question is, though, roads everywhere in the city, and I'm glad you mentioned other areas as well. But I'm not sure if that could be connected to the Hard Rock Cafe, because if you ask me, I can take you on roads in West Carlton. It's a lot worse than Earl Armstrong.
100%.
And what my friend Mr. McMillan called them, the horse people, travel on them, and they always complain because the trailer bounce more than anything else. So it is an issue when we talk about pothole or city infrastructure. It's right across the city. It's not just in that area where Hard Rock Cafe is.
100%. But I would wonder, what I would love to do actually was take my presentation, and I'd love to go to Vegas to talk, but go talk to the head of International Hard Rock Casinos International and say, you guys are going to be investing $350 million in Ottawa. Cool. Wonderful. Ottawa as a city is going to be reaping, some say, $12 million. But right now, they get about $3 or $4 million from whatever it is, from the Rio Carlton Raceway right now. Some people anticipate it could go up to $12 million. That's wonderful. So, Mr. President, Hard Rock Casino, you're investing $350 million in Ottawa. It's going to be a world-class facility. But look at the roads we're going to have going to it. So my suggestion, and I agree with you, because St. Joseph's is a mess. I've driven down that. I understand. But what I'm suggesting, or what I would put forward, would be, okay, there's revenue, potential revenue. We look at it as potential revenue coming, say, whatever that dollar is. The area, it's coming because of development in that specific area. So we're going to put additional strain. It's new money to the city coffers. We're going to put additional strain on an already failing infrastructure. So my suggestion would be, maybe let's take 5%, again, let's take 10%, let's say 25%, whatever. Let's allocate an amount of money over a 10-year period. Say we allocate 25%, just because I like that number. So we do that, so we take 25%, that's a good whack of change, and then say, okay, over the 10-year period, this is the allocation of that $120 million that we're going to get potentially. 25% is whatever, $40 million. So we could do that, and maybe at that point in time, work with Hard Rock. And I know talking to Jack and other people, people understand that the roads are a mess. So maybe what we could do potentially is say, take that 25%, that $40 million, if my math is correct, and work with Hard Rock and say, okay, what could we do to make the entrance off of Bank Street showcase? So our friend, the president of Hard Rock Casino International, when he comes up for the opening, won't go, what the hell am I doing in the middle of a goat path? Pardon my language. But that's what I want to do. I'm from here, 61 years, love the city, looking forward to participate. I want it to be a showcase. So how can we do that? Now, if we just take 25% of that money, of the new money, that still leaves 75% of the new money to work with whatever. Now, is that fair to somebody out in Canada? Yeah, no, they might not think so. That said, it's the new money that's coming in is as a result, or we result in the it will result in the deterioration of the infrastructure so much faster. Earl Armstrong won't last. It's going to have to be done.
Can I make it easy for you? What about all the money generated from the casino? The new casino goes to all the roads in the city, from the east to the west to the south to the north. I'll be happy with that.
It can go. Hey, hey.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm just saying, yes, we need money for infrastructure everywhere.
And again, you won't get any argument from me. I'm the kind of guy that go, hey, maybe we should have a 3% tax increase to help with that. But that's another story. But you're right. But you guys understand. I showed the video only to say, hey, we watched the video. I could tell you about it, and then we ignore it. But when you see a video, you see the road construction, you know. And if we take that extra 75%, I'd be supportive of that. But there's an infrastructure issue. But that said, that's what I'd like to suggest, because it is coming in as a result of this area. Sorry. I go on.
Thank you. Any further questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Harley Bloom of the Gloucester Agricultural Society.
Good morning, Chairman Moffat and members of the committee.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us. As I submitted in my letter with my preamble, the Capital Fair, which is produced by the Gloucester Agricultural Society, has been living at Rideau Carleton now for 20 years. And we've been there rent-free. That's allowed us to get established and actually become the second largest fair in Ontario. That's not bad. Last year, we brought in over 250,000 people over the course of our 10-day event. Probably the most significant point of interest with that is that we generated approximately 1,000 cars on the site at any one time during the course of the day. Now, to me, that's significant because I noticed in the report there was a concern about traffic. And I attended the open house at the RA Center and spoke with a number of residents that were on Albion, north of Leicester. And the discussion about the traffic pattern was raised. And I asked them whether they noticed any increased traffic during the course of the fair, to which they said, oh no, the fair's great. That was significant in my mind because it suggests that the traffic is not impacting them at all. And I think 1,000 cars a day for the fair, from the last meeting that I attended here, is significantly smaller than what the projected car traffic patterns will be for Hard Rock. You'll probably know better than me. We certainly support the first recommendation. We understand that that's a road to sustainable viability for not only the fair, which we're concerned with, but Hard Rock and the South End as well. Everyone has talked about jobs and prosperity, and we don't have to get into that. But what I will mention is the 10-day fair, according to the Ontario Ministry of Tourism, creates over $105 million worth of activity just alone. Not bad for a 10-day show. With respect to recommendation number 2, we mentioned already the increased traffic. What I should mention also is that during the course of the fair for the last 3 years at least, we have not received any anecdotal complaints to the fair office, nor have we heard from City of Ottawa bylaw. That was not the case when the fair first started there at Rideau Carleton, and we were figuring out the traffic patterns. But working with the city, that's been resolved and everything is running smoothly. And we would, another comment. Albion Road, 4 years ago, was a mess, no question. We were very concerned because we were trying to run a shuttle bus from South Keys to Rideau Carleton because it was very dangerous for young families pushing strollers. We now have a shoulder. That remedial work was done, I think, George, just as you came in, and certainly Doug Thompson was the one that pushed it. So there is a safe area. I believe it's actually a bike lane, but people can walk from the bus stop, which is at Finley Creek, up Albion Road to get to the fair. We, of course, Mr. Councillor Blais has left the room. Damn. We would like to see buses come to Hard Rock. I think it'll help support the casino, obviously, but it would definitely make it easier for young families to get to the fair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions? No? Thank you, Mr. Bloom. Appreciate it. Our next speaker, I don't know if he's familiar with the process here, but it's Doug Thompson. So, yeah, you come up, you speak, you have 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes.
Use less than his 5, so I take his. Thanks very much, Chair Moffat, members of the committee. My name is Doug Thompson, and I'm here today representing the Greeley Business Association. I'm their city liaison member. The topic of Rideau Carleton is one that I think we're all familiar with, and I want to personally applaud Councillor Moffat and MPP Lisa MacLeod, who worked in saving the harness racing industry back in 2011, 12, and 13. And I was glad to hear that first speaker talk about that. That was critical. And also the fact that the City Council in 2013 approved the casino for Rideau Carleton, because if City Council hadn't, I mean, there was competition from Mr. Melnick and competition from downtown, but the fact is that if City Council hadn't made that decision in 2013, we probably wouldn't be here today. So I just want to say that. Harness racing, as mentioned, and Councillor Earl Chantieri had a lot of good questions. We found out, and I think there were, when we were debating this at City Council, there were tens of thousands of petitions wanting to save harness racing and have the casino there. And harness racing is very important for the city and for the rural areas and outside of the city. The Greeley Business Association fully supports the proposal. I think we're well aware of the concerns about traffic, the potential for traffic issues. There's the potential for misuse of the gambling facility by people who become addicted to it. So I think all of those things can be addressed, but the Greeley Business Association is very excited. I know Councillor DeRuse is as well. The potential for local, rural work places is just astronomical. I know prior to this proposal, Warren Armstrong had said that the majority of the people that worked there were from the rural areas, Osgood Ward, Riedel Goulburn, and south of there. And perhaps it's the rural nature of people. They work hard, and so I think that's just going to expand now with the increase. And I know on firsthand, people tell me now, living in Metcalfe, they're working at the casino because of the expanded facilities there. I think that, and I know I saw there is, and I saw the video, and that's one thing I think that concerns the GBA is the transportation network, and I know everybody is working hard to improve it. Earl Armstrong, it would be great for everyone, for the casino and for the South End residents, if in fact it was 4-lane from Limebank down as it's proposed to be done in 2030 or whatever it is. I think that would really solve a lot of problems because you have the people from that end of the city being able to get there, and if Bank Street is modified, then I think you can resolve the problem. Eventually, Earl Armstrong is to run over to the 417, probably about 2050. So that will be of a great benefit to our end of the city. But as a business organization, we're very excited about that, and I know that the city, this committee, and the city council, and the staff here are well aware of this. This topic has been ongoing for years, and so the city staff are fully aware of what is needed, and I'm sure, and I have great faith that the issues that have been mentioned and will be mentioned will be resolved. So that's it. Do I have time left?
Yeah, I think you're good. You're not Alex Cullen territory yet. Thank you for being here, and I think some of the things you mentioned about the road infrastructure, I think that's definitely a conversation that we're going to be having in the next transportation master plan as we go into that, or whoever's here goes into that next term. And I think that's what the Councillor Drew's motion, working alongside with Councillor Kakish, looks to try to move those projects ahead, because of the changing, how things are different a little bit in the South End now than maybe they were when we drafted that transportation master plan back in 2012, 2013. And I think that's kind of an important evolution of those things.
Just if I may,
yeah.
I think that's important, and I think there has to be a buy-in from all the councillors, and I'm glad that Councillor Kakish is working, because there is a concern if you 4-lane Earl Armstrong that it's going to put a lot of traffic through Riverside South, and everybody is always worried about the unknown, but I think it will work out.
Sure. Councillor Drews?
And thank you, Mr. Thompson, for being here this morning. And I know that you work very hard with our MPP, Lisa MacLeod, and the Chair Moffat back in 2011 and 12. And I'm happy to see your support with the GBA for this, because since 2013 till now, things really changed, and the magnitude of the project, I'm really happy to see the partnership with Hard Rock since 2015 and 16, that when they won the RFP, and I know the whole scope's changed. And I appreciate your concern about the road. And we've been working, I assure you, we've been working very hard, and you're very familiar with the TMP. And yesterday we addressed this with John Manconi, the general manager, and we're hoping in the next TMP we'll be able to move forward instead of keep pushing those projects further 5 years, as you're well aware of it. In 2013, all the money that was allocated for the Earl Armstrong was moved to the widening of Prince of Wales. So we do have a challenge about, we need to set the expectation and the affordability. But the Hard Rock, I gotta just mention that they've been a great partnership. They've been working with the Findlay Creek developer, and Kakish and I, we've been working in the last 3 years with Councillor Deans to making sure these network and these roads really fully accessible. And when Hard Rock will be ready to build and expand, by then the network will be ready for them to accommodate them, because really there is no corporation There is no corporation in the world will spend $350 million to see themselves sitting in between deteriorated road. So I appreciate your concern and thank you for your support. And just I want to make sure you know all that we've been addressing. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I know, I know that the infrastructure is very critical, and it's heartwarming to see Councillor Deans here taking notes because we've had our issues in the past about Albion Road, but we've resolved that. But I think, and again, it's nice to hear that the councillors, Councillor Kakish and Councillor DeRuse and Councillor Deans are aware of that, because that's, for the residents of Greeley and South, this is the most major issue that we have, let alone having the casino there. So thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. And just to echo Councillor DeRuse's comments, thank you obviously for your role as well, last term of council, and getting us to this point as well. And you give me credit, but
well, you deserve it.
Sure. Our next speaker is Gino Melito of the Osgood Ward Business Association. Thank you for being here, Gino.
I'm here. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Moffat, City Councilors. I guess I'm speaking more from an insider because I've been living in the Osgood Wharf since 1989. So I just wrote a few notes, if you bear with me. So again, my name is Gino Melito, and I'm the president of the Osgood Ward Business Association, or better known as OBA. I would like to start by saying that I'm here to represent the business of Osgood, the Osgood Ward, but I'm also here as a resident. It is my belief that all parties should work together, and that includes businesses, residents, and developers. For OBA, this is very exciting, and for Osgood Ward, this is historical. It means so much for the future of existing businesses and potential new businesses looking to move into the South End. This will also include, as everybody's aware, thousands of jobs. Everyone thinks the biggest concern by residents is traffic. They're right. However, it is not just a concern of residents, but also of the businesses and the developers. The road widening will be a win-win for residents that are currently struggling with travel times back and forth to the city, and for local businesses, it means more convenient travel times. For customers and staff, it is something that we've been looking forward for a long time. As a business owner, I know this. We understand that infrastructure improvements are coming to Bank Street. Bank and Leitrim, Bank and Albion, as well as Bank and Rideau roads. This will make a huge difference to the South End, rural residents, and businesses. As a business association of the Osgood Ward, we have been working with our councillor so he understands the importance and knows the issues. He's working collectively with the other South End councillors, developers, and other city officials to make sure that we are building a community in a progressive way moving forward, with infrastructure in place to keep up with the growth. Up until now, the Osgood Ward has been left behind in development. However, the expansion of the Hard Rock and the Rideau Carleton Entertainment Center will finally help our ward be brought up to date. Businesses will have an opportunity to compete on an equal footing with all businesses, not only in Ottawa, but the rest of the province and beyond. This development is something that needs to be done simultaneously. The infrastructure and developments are being put in place as needed, where needed, and not one before the other, wasting taxpayers' money. This is a project of enormous proportion, and it's been a long time coming. Just like Barhaven, Canada, and Orleans, it is finally our turn. The businesses and residents of the Osgood Ward want to be considered and brought into the fold. As great as the eastern and western areas are in our city, there are always development issues we should learn from. What they've done well and what they've done not so well. Therefore, it takes time. Rezoning, revamping the South End needs many approvals. This project is almost coming together seamlessly. It will have a super impact on the ward, but above all, it will be a jewel for the city of Ottawa. I urge you all to support this development. After all, we do have the same common goal, to continue to make Ottawa and its South End a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Melito. Any questions? Councillor Chantieri?
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chair. I just want to say thank you for your voice for the small businesses anywhere in the city, because sometimes they seem to be forgotten about their contribution to our city and to our economy. So I want to thank you on behalf, since I represent all the BIAs and the business people in the city of Ottawa. I want to say thank you.
Thank you. We're all volunteers, by the way. We don't get paid.
Thank you. Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Martin Ely. Sorry, Ely. I was right the first time. I should have just stopped there. With the South Keys Greenboro Community Association, I assume.
Morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've been paying attention to all the information, both of the open houses and the reports that have been done, so I've tried to focus my comments on here on our conclusions from that. South Keys is just northeast of Bank and Hunt Club, so we're very familiar with the north-south traffic issues, and that's why we have an interest in the discussion, particularly around Blossom Park. We're pleased to see that the staff report identified most of the traffic concerns that have been raised, in particular those on Albion Road in Blossom Park. The issue is very simply the current lack of a north-south infrastructure in this area to support the current rapid residential development. So we recognise that this is not all on the lap of Hard Rock, but clearly it's just one more thing. So this development we see as an opportunity to actually bring some of those things together. And I think that leads into the area traffic management study that's already been discussed in motion 3. That would be an opportunity to get some synergy between all those things and take the money that's not always as much as we want it to be, but try and focus them in a way that would benefit everybody. So I think that's already come out in a number of comments today. And certainly expecting to deal with the Hard Rock Casino traffic in isolation is very difficult because there are so many other factors in that area. The staff report explained the 2017 material that's already been briefed here today, and particularly the recommendation 3 related to transportation, so I won't linger on that. We do believe that the intent of recommendation 3 is captured in the proposed condition for areas A, B, and D. We are, however, very concerned that the review of the work done is delegated to city staff and that there will be no public opportunity to review and comment on the conclusions prior to the site plan approval. If I understood motion 2, it was read today. I believe that speaks to that aspect, but I wasn't entirely sure I understood the motion. So I'm hoping that it will give some public opportunity for reviewing the work that gets done along the way. We certainly see that the interest of the Hard Rock, City of Ottawa, the current residential developers, and all current and future residents will be best served by the development of an area traffic management plan. So the only way of bringing all those together in a sensible way is through that plan, we believe. We would anticipate that such a plan would see the benefits of improving Bank Street south of Leitrim Road as an attractive north-south alternative to Albion Road. And really, until there is an alternative, then no measures on Albion are really going to fix anything relative to today. We do believe that Hard Rock would benefit from an early establishment of an entrance on an improved Bank Street. It would sort of set the tone for the traffic in the future, and I think it would be in their best interest to have good access. So we believe that the opportunity exists to deliver a number of road infrastructure projects in a coherent manner in the near future, not 10 years after Hard Rock development is completed, as currently planned in the city documents. In summary, we agree with the rezoning and the holding conditions. We are concerned that the work to satisfy the conditions may only be reviewed internally by the city staff, and we do believe there's a very real need for an area traffic management plan to bring all this together. That's my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you for your support of some of the motions that you've seen today. Councillor DeRuse?
Thank you very much for being here. Can I ask you a quick question? Do you think the traffic we have right now in the South End is all created by the Hard Rock and Rideau Carton?
No, not at all. It's just one more thing on a situation which is already bad. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your concern, and you know what to address, and I'm happy that you see that you're happy with the work we've been doing with your councillor herself and our councillor Kakish, that we've been working hard. But if you close the Rideau Carton today, and in fact 2 years ago when Rideau Carton was on strike, and if they were not operating on full capacity, the traffic really didn't change anything. It was actually more traffic. The traffic that we have right now, it's localized. And we understand the pressure that we have right now in South Keys. Since I'm a resident, actually, of Blossom Park, and my parents and my family, we live on Blossom Park, and we drive the road, and I understand your concern, but the thing that we're doing here today and the zoning and what we're trying to prepare for the future for this development to be successful in the South End and making sure we relieve the local pressure. We need to work on Leitrim intersections on Bank Street and on Albion, and these both there were addressed at this term of council. And in the future, we will be working with our partner and with your councillor and with our partner to making sure one simultaneous when those projects coming into the South. But we need to give an